Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have back with me once again, because so many people loved his episode and there's like multiple new books out since the last time that Dr. Noah St. John and I talked. I had to have him back. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Dr. Noah St. John, he is known as the father of Afformations and the mental health coach to the stars. He's worked with Hollywood celebrities, 7- and 8-figure company CEOs, professional athletes, and he's famous for helping people make more in just 12 weeks than they made in the last 12 months while winning their lives back. So he's the author of multiple books. Like, I think he's up at 25-ish books, something like that now. The most recent one being The 7-Figure Machine, Your Ultimate Roadmap to Endless Earnings and Financial Freedom. And oh my gosh, y'all, I already started reading it. So freaking good. I haven't got through it all yet, but trust me, by the end of this weekend, I will have it done. So Noah, welcome back.
Great to be back, Jennie. So good to be here.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited to talk to you about the new books, the new series that have come out. But before we jump into that, just in case somebody hasn't listened to the previous episode with you, we are going to link that previous episode in the show notes. But can you give a quick, in a nutshell, the history of Noah St. John and how you got to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. You can go listen to the full version on our previous conversation. But yeah, I mean, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and I know that's a total cliche, but it's totally true because I grew up in this little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the richest, most wealthiest communities in New England, in fact, in the entire country. Yeah. But my family was dirt poor. I mean that literally, because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15. So I grew up with the painful experience of the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. And so, you know, being one of the have-nots, I really hated that. I hated being poor because I saw that right down the street, there's great wealth and abundance. And so I really worked very hard to escape that life of poverty. But the only way I knew how to do it was to go to the library and read books. I mean, that's all we had back then, was just go to the library and read books. So I read every book in the self-help section, the classics, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, and read every book. And I really tried to get it to work. But you know what? As hard as I tried, I couldn't get it to work because there always seemed to be something missing, something they weren't telling us. And so fast forward many years later, and I'd been reading these books for an insane number of years and put an insane number of hours into this and just was still stuck. I was still hitting that income ceiling. And then one day in 1997, many years ago, almost 30 years ago now, I had these epiphanies and I realized exactly what was missing, what they weren't telling us in all these traditional success books that I'd spent all those years reading. And I knew that this was my purpose, my mission on the earth. And so I decided to publish my very first book, which was called Permission to Succeed, because I realized that for most of us, we actually don't need more how-tos of success. We spent years and years studying how-tos, but what we really needed was someone to show us how to give ourselves permission to succeed in the first place. And so that was something that nobody was talking about back then. And still, I'm one of the only people that, in fact, I'm the person that actually discovered and, formalized it and systematized this of how to actually give yourself permission to succeed. And then now, as you mentioned, I've written 25 books now. We've helped our clients add over $3 billion with a B collectively, meaning helping people add multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, and yes, even 8 figures And one of the areas that our my work shows up the most is, in fact, in this very realm of network marketing. And why is that? Well, because as anyone who's ever done anything in network marketing knows, 90% of your success comes from what I call your inner game.
Yeah.
As opposed to your outer game, right? You need both of those together. Your inner game is everything you can't see directly, that's affecting everything that you do. And your outer game, which is everything you can see, that's also affecting everything. The problem is that most people have spent lots of time, money, and energy on the outer game. Here's what to do. Here's how to succeed. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to do that. But what's missing for most people is that inner game, that framework, which is exactly what I created almost 3 decades ago now. And that is, in fact, the reason that we've helped so many people in network marketing make literally hundreds of millions of dollars collectively. And so that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, my gosh. And for those who, again, didn't hear the last episode, I was introduced to some of your concepts at my very first virtual summit when one of my speakers, Candice Rodarte, talked about your book, Afformations, which is, and I addressed it in introducing you. You're the father of Afformations, which is that inner game piece, right? That yes. The affirmations don't work. I'm pretty sure that's what I actually called the episode with you last time, is affirmations don't work. And I know there were a lot of people who listened to that going, wait, what?
What?
I've been doing these for 10 years,
Decades.
right?
Yes.
Kind of thing. Because I wanted to have something that caught people's attention, because affirmations are different than the affirmations.
Yes.
Right. And we could probably go on forever and ever, but that's part of the inner game that you discussed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so I was going to say, so now you have the 7-Figure series. So the newest book that has come out is the 7-Figure Machine, but you also have the 7-Figure Expert and the 7-Figure Life. So let's discuss this whole 7-figure thing, because why the focus on 7-figure?
Well, it's funny because a lot of people in network marketing, of course, one of the reasons they get into it is to have financial freedom. But really not only financial freedom, but time freedom, location freedom, relationship freedom. So for many people, as an example, people, and I'm a great example of this, I worked in corporate America, and I had a 9-to-5 job like most of us were trained, right? I mean, this is what we were taught since we were 0, which is, you grow up and get good grades and go to college, have a lot of debt there. Right, get a job. And then, when you're 65 or older, then you can finally enjoy your life. And I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Who made this up? I mean, this is idiotic. Who made these rules? Right. And so, and that was one of the reasons at the age of 25. And I didn't share that just now, but I think I shared in my earlier episode with you that, at the age of 25, I actually decided to commit suicide because I was like, that was one of the reasons, because I was literally looking at the next 40 years of my life going, are you kidding me with this? This is what I have to look forward to for 40 years. And I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want to be here. So, fortunately, at the last moment, my life was spared. But I literally did make that decision to end my own life at 25. And that was one of the big reasons. So my point being is, why do we get into, being an entrepreneur, things like network marketing and so on? Because we want that freedom. I call it the freedom lifestyle. Yes. Right. But what's the problem? Well, the problem for many, many entrepreneurs, and if not most network marketers, is they're still trading time for money. Right. Because those are the two main resources that we have as humans, which is time and money. Right. So what is happening is we're always trading one for the other. Typically, what happens is at the beginning of your network marketing career, you have a lot of time and not much money. Right. But sometimes you get to a point in your career or your life where you have, maybe a good amount of money, but now you don't have any time. It's like, and so it's frustrating on one side and then it's frustrating on the other. So one of my points with my 7-Figure series is to separate the connection, to literally sever the connection between time and money. Meaning, in a typical job, what is a job? A job is you put in X number of hours and you get paid Y amount of dollars. Okay, well, what's the problem with that? The problem is it is really, really hard to become financially free with that model. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I'm just saying it's freaking hard to become free.
Yeah.
So that's why many people have decided to, escape the 9 to 5 and say, hey, I know, I'll just do it on my own. Great idea. Okay. But here's the problem. You're still doing it. You're still trading time for money. And why is that? Because we have not been taught how to sever the connection between time and money. So what is the point of the 7-figure machine? It is exactly that. It's to have a machine, right? What's a machine? A machine is a system that produces a result, right?
Yes.
It's or is a machine, right? You turn it on and you go down the road. It's like, I know what I'm doing here. Do you know how a car works? I don't. But you know what the result is? You go down the road a lot faster than you can walk, right? So that's what a machine is. Well, it's exactly the same way with your 7-figure machine, right? Your online machine. You put a machine together. Now, yes, you have to build it. This is not magic, right? There's a lot of marketers and gurus out there that say, hey, it's so easy. It's so simple. Just push this button and you make money. No, you do not. No, that is not true. They're lying. They're liars. No, you got to put it together. But the point is that I spent over $500,000 going to all those guys, going to all those gurus, all those marketers, just to have them tell me, would you? And I had one question. Tell me how to do this. Show me what to do. And they never did. I paid them all this money and they never showed me anything because they suck at teaching. They're great self-promoters, great self-marketers, but man, they suck at teaching.
Yeah.
And so I had to spend all this money and all this time just to put together in this book, in the 7-figure machine, exactly what took me 20 years to figure out and over $500,000. So for a lot less than that, and like you just said, you can get this done in a weekend, you can get this for yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing because what's interesting and the interesting dichotomy I've seen in the world of network marketing with people who get into it, it's because they have a slightly rebellious, right, mentality. Like, I'm not doing, like you said, this corporate thing. No, I'm done. Right.
Right.
So then when you hand them a system, they want to rebel against it.
Against that too. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So it's really getting people to say, okay, you know what? Yes, I want to rebel, but here's what I regularly talk with my clients about, right? Yeah. Is when you get a recipe, for example, for banana bread, right? What do you do when you get the recipe? You follow the recipe the first time, right? You try and make sure you have all the exact same ingredients that they talk about in the ingredient list. You follow the process, you follow it step by step to make that version of banana bread.
Right.
Right. So follow the freaking recipe.
Yeah.
Like after you've made it 2, 3, 4 times and you're like, you know what, this is a little too salty for me. Then go ahead and drop a little bit of the salt out, right? Or whatever. I'd like it to be a little bit sweeter. So add half a banana more, or you know what I mean? Like those kinds of, then you can begin to play with it. Yes. So with this being a newer book, what is your experience so far? What are the testimonials you're getting on the 7-figure machine from people who are already reading this and coming back and saying, oh my gosh, it changed my life because?
Well, I do share many of the stories there in the book. And in fact, like one story, is of a network marketer named Sheila out in California, and she had been making about $5,000 a month for years. And hey, $5,000 a month, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a nice, nice living and really doing well for a family. But she knew that she could do a lot more. And she actually heard me speak at one of her company's retreats, their events. And she realized that this actually was the missing piece for her. So we actually got her to now where she was making $5,000 a month before. Now she's at $75,000 a month. $75,000 a month. That's a 1,500% increase. And that was a combination of inner game and outer game, like I talked about earlier. Right. So it really was a combination of both. And I just want to reiterate something, which is that no matter what you're working on, whether it's putting your machine together or working on your inner game, you really do have to do both. So the 7-figure machine, and in fact, my 7-figure series, is really all about integrating your inner game and outer game, which is something that most people, number one, have never been taught how to do. I certainly wasn't. That's why it took me so long, because I went to all these places and they never taught me. They literally never showed me this. So I had to put this together all by myself. And so my job, my mission here is to really save people a ton of time, money, and effort that they otherwise would have to do just by figuring out on their own.
I love that idea because one thing that has been said time and again on my show, and I know it's said in many other places in direct sales and network marketing, it's that direct sales and network marketing is a personal growth business.
That's right.
With a paycheck attached.
Correct.
Right?
That's exactly.
And the more you learn, the more you earn. Right.
Exactly.
Well, I like to challenge that a little bit because you actually address this in the beginning of the 7-Figure Machine, which is it's not just about what you learn. It's what you do with what you learn.
That's right.
Like,
that's right. Well,
oh my gosh.
And that goes back to a phrase that we all have heard a million times, which is knowledge is power. Right now.
Yeah.
For 99% of human history, that phrase was actually true because knowledge or information was held by a very, very few people at the top of the food chain, right? And for the vast, majority of humans, we didn't have access to that knowledge or information. Well, now, of course, because of the internet, everybody has access to an infinite amount of information. And in fact, we don't live in the information age. We live in the information overload age. We passed the information age 20 miles back. And so most people that I talk to are on overload because you cannot go on social media or YouTube or Google or anywhere on the internet without finding 10 trillion, quadrillion people talking about here's how to make money, here's how to grow your business, here's how to do this, how to do that. And you're like, well, who the heck do I trust? Who do I trust? And that is the most important commodity that we have today is trust. And that is the thing we have the least of today because of so much misinformation out there. So that's why, like, when you go to my website, when you go to any of my websites, noahstjohn.com or any of my websites, the number one thing that I talk about are my client success stories. And here's what I mean by that, because there are two types of success that I've noticed in this industry, and that is personality-driven success and system-driven success. Now, personality-driven success is exactly what it sounds like. It's based on that person's personality. And we all know people who have just this winning personality and everything they touch turns to gold. And you're sitting there like, well, that's great for them, but I don't have that personality. Maybe I'm kind of quiet and shy, which I am. I'm an introvert. I know you wouldn't know it by now or, from listening to me on this interview. But see, right now, what I'm doing is I'm turning up that extroverted part of my personality. But my idea of an exciting evening is, curling up with a good book or watching TV with my wife. That is an exciting evening for me, So I'm an introvert. And so, all these people are so extroverted and, oh man, I don't feel that way. Or I don't think that's really me. Okay. So that's personality driven. And that's what we see most of in this industry. So what I teach that's different is system driven success. How do you know it's a system? Because many, many, many people have done it. Right. Yes. So that's the difference. If you're looking at personality-driven success, that's what you're going to see. And you go to their website and it's all about them and their personality. That's great for you, buddy. Have you helped anybody else? And the answer is usually not so much. And so that's why whatever you do, you want to look for a system. And how do you know it's a system? Because many, many other people have done it and it's worked and there's the results.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny that you say this because not even 30 minutes before you and I hopped on this call for this interview, I popped onto Facebook real quick to do a quick post of my own, and one of the things that showed up on my feed was somebody in a local group asking, and of course they posted anonymously, I'm looking for a business coach or consultant. Who do you all recommend? And all these people are tagging all these business coaches and consultants in my area. And I responded not with a referral, but with basically what you said, which is, I don't know your business, so I don't know who the best person is to refer to you. But here, as you start going through all these people who are on this list, I want you to ask them two things. First of all, when it comes to hiring a coach, always, always, always ask them who is their coach. If they don't have a coach, run. Run the other direction because they are not investing in themselves for their growth, for their clients' benefit, right? They don't see the value in coaching, or else they'd have a coach, which red flag, y'all, red, like red flags everywhere. It should be a
Right.
freaking neon sign over their head.
Right.
Second one being client references.
Yes.
Right? Are they producing the results that you want, or are they in the industry? Are they an expert coach in the industry that you want, that you are in? Right?
Mhm.
Because I know coaches who coach in very specific areas.
Right.
And I would never refer them someone who was not in that area of their expertise, even though in theory the information is generalizable from one to another.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a friend who he's a painting coach. He works with painting companies. Right? So find a coach that has a coach, get the client references, and make sure they're in the industry that you're in. Right? And so having something like this and the system that you're talking about here is so freaking important. One of my other guests have you ever met Dr. Stan Harris?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I might have to make that introduction for you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things he talked about in his book, and he may not be the first person who said it, and he's just the person that I remember seeing it from last, is that SYSTEM is an acronym. Save yourself time, energy, money.
Yes. That I've heard before, yes.
Okay. I don't like I said, he's just the most recent person that I heard it from. So, having this 7-figure series, the 7-figure expert, the 7-figure life, the 7-figure machine, a system now that you can actually put it to place.
Right.
And what about the 7-figure machine is so great for network marketers? Are there specific parts of the machine that you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I think is perfect for somebody who's in direct sales or MLM?
Well, if you go through the chapters, it is very systematic. Everything that I teach is a system, because that's what I wish I would have gotten from all those guys, and I never got, even after giving them all that money. So I had to figure it out for myself, which really took a long time and a lot of money. So, we start with your 7-figure, we start with my 7-figure offer secret. So everything starts with an offer, right? If you're in network marketing, if you're in direct sales, that's what you're offering, right? You're offering whatever your product or your opportunity is, right? That's your offer. But you can have other offers as well, all right? So I show you how to actually create an offer if you don't currently have one. Then we have my 7-figure product secrets, right? So every successful business starts with one successful offer, and then I actually show you how to have and create different products. For example, I believe that everyone in network marketing, everyone listening to this program needs to have their own book. Now, I've written 25 books, and many people ask me, Noah, how did you write all these books? I mean, how did you do that?
Right.
I want to write one book, and I don't even know where to start. And so I have a system for writing books. That shouldn't be any surprise by now, right? So I actually started a book done for you service because so many people kept asking me, for help with this. And so I said, gee, here's a clue, right? People really want this. So we created a book done for you service. So everyone listening to this program really needs to have your own book. And why? Just think about this. If you are competing against everyone in your area, which we all are, right? There's 10 million billion coaches. There's 10 million billion network marketers. I mean, there's just the quadrillion of everything, right? So there is no area that isn't hyper competitive at this point on planet Earth.
Right.
So if you're competing against people in your area and you have a book and the other people don't, they're much more likely to buy from you, sign up with you, and have you as their person, right? That they sign up with, just by virtue of you having a book. I'll give you an example. One of our clients is a stem cell doctor from Nashville, and he told me that he had been thinking about writing a book for 10 years, right? 10 years. But, he's a doctor, he's busy, he doesn't have the time, he didn't know really where to start. So 10 years he's been thinking about this. He hired me, and in 8 weeks, we got it done. We got it done in 8 weeks after 10 years of him thinking about it. So do you see how powerful a system is? So rather than you sitting there going, gee, what should I do? Where should I start? You can just hire me and we'll get it done for you, as opposed to you sitting there and floundering for any more time. So that's another great example of my product secret. So I walk you through the whole thing specifically. So there really isn't any part of the 7-figure machine that doesn't apply to people in network marketing and direct selling.
Right. Oh, I love it. And so for me too, as I was looking through the chapter names, what I
Mhm.
have a feeling people are going to be most attracted to, and I gave a hint in what I just said,
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
client attraction secrets, right?
That's right.
But here's the thing, guys, the client attraction doesn't work if you haven't done all the other things in advance. It's like you can't put a car together in the wrong order or
Right.
else it's not going to work properly. Things won't fit
Right.
in. I mean, look at anything you've probably ever purchased from IKEA. If you didn't follow the directions, what happened to that little piece of furniture, right? You
Right.
ended up having to disassemble it and go back and do it again, right?
Right.
So don't skip to the chapter that you're like, oh, ooh, that looks good. No, these were put together in order for a reason, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I want to speak to that. I love that you brought that up, Jenny, because that is one of the number one things that people come to me for. And they say, hey,
Mhm.
Noah, I spent all this money on Facebook ads because, this guru and that guru said, if you don't do Facebook ads, then you're a loser and you're not serious about your business. So I did all these Facebook ads and I lost all this money. And
Yep.
I go, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I mean, I've heard it before. I've heard it a million times. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I'll say to them, well, so I'm just curious, like, what were you sending people to when when you had these ads? Like, what were you sending people to? And they say, well, my website. I go, okay, well, that's fine. But like, what was the offer that you were sending people to? They go, well, I don't really have an offer. And I go, right. You see
Hmm.
face palm. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like the only thing you can do in that scenario is lose money, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is happy to take your money. They don't care. They
Yep.
don't care if you make money. They'll just say, hey, we sent you traffic, give us money.
Yeah.
And you're like, but wait. I'm like, no. So you're absolutely right. That is precisely why. I mean, that is the definition of putting the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah.
We need the horse in the front, the cart in the back. The horse is the thing that's going to drive the cart, right? So
Yeah.
that is the exact point, and that is precisely what I got to be honest. I wish someone would have taught me this 20 years ago. I'd be a gazillionaire by now. I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. But I mean,
Right.
seriously,
Right.
I had to figure all this out. It took forever because of all the lousy teachers out there. It
Right.
was very frustrating. So you can see I'm very passionate about wanting to get people the right information in the right order.
Right. And I think that's a really important piece for people to understand because the, you know, part of the reason that my job as a network marketing coach
Mm-hmm.
exists is
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many things out there that are confusing for network marketers and how do I do this and how do I do this and they want the how and
Right.
oftentimes I end up working well let's get in here first and I'm for those of you obviously you can't see me but I'm pointing to my head like we got to figure this out first, right?
Right.
Because it's oftentimes the thoughts, the stories we tell ourselves that
Yes.
are
Yes.
holding us back. And
Correct.
then there are so many things out there that are saying, well, this is the right way to do it, or this is the right way to do it. And really, ultimately, it comes down to who's actually done the thing
Mm-hmm.
that you want to create, right?
That's right.
Who's created those results? And obviously, based on the decades of results, all of the books you had, you are someone who creates results for people.
That's
And
right.
with people, I think is really important. Um, part of that is it's not like yes, you have the done for you book service, but
Yes.
for someone's network marketing business, you're not going and selling for them. You can't go
Right.
do that stuff
It's
for
a
them,
done
right?
with you. Exactly right. That's right.
Right,
It's done with you.
exactly.
Right.
Right. So I think that's just a phenomenal thing. So
Mm-hmm.
now you have a really cool $300 bonus for the Badass Direct Sales listeners.
Yes.
When it comes to the seven figure machine, and frankly, if they want to do the seven figure expert, that would be a number of other bonuses as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the full value on that one either. So a lot of extra bonuses for these two
Yes.
books to get things started. I'm sure there's probably something for seven figure life. So if someone's interested in the seven figure machine, the seven figure series,
Yep.
where can they go? What can they do?
So make sure you go to the link for Seven Figure Machine
Mm-hmm.
for that book. And then we have the book called The Seven Figure Expert, which
Mm-hmm.
really walks you through my 5-phase seven figure expert formula, which is one of the things that has helped people, my clients, make, billions of dollars. I mean, just
Right.
tons and tons of money over the last, 3 decades. And so All those links will be in the show notes. But what I'm very excited about is when you get either of those books, you actually get my 7-figure fast track digital course. So there's a brand new digital course called the 7-figure fast track. Now, this is actually over $1,000 of value. I just added that bonus. So it's really, really exciting. When you go and get either of those books, you'll also get the bonus of the 7-figure fast track, which is a digital course, which again sells by itself for over $1,000, but you get that free as part of, when you get the book. So what's really great is I know when people get the book, they are very, very excited and they want to get started right away, which is great. So when you get the 7-figure expert book, you do get the digital version of that right away. And the 7-figure machine is available on Audible if you prefer to listen. It's also available on Amazon as a hard copy book, and it is available on Kindle as a digital book. So all of those formats are available for 7-figure machine, 7-figure life, 7-figure expert, and also the 7-figure chiropractor, which is the 4th book in the 7-figure series. So yeah, we're just really, really passionate about helping people really get to that 7-figure level so they can have that life of financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and really that freedom lifestyle that's why we're all in business, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, entrepreneurs want that freedom piece with whatever word in front of it: time, financial, location, relationship, all the things in front, right? Exactly. So, Badass Crew, you guys know that the link that Dr. Noah St. John just talked about is in the show notes. But just in case this is your very first time ever listening to the show, all you have to do to access the link in the show notes is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode, scroll under Noah's picture, and you will see the links there. And we have them mapped out for each individual piece. So that way you can go through. So if you're wanting the 7-figure expert, if that's where you want to start, click on that link. If you want the 7-figure machine, click on that link, and then they will automatically take you through so you can get all of those bonuses, including, what was it? The 7-figure accelerator?
Fast track. 7-figure fast track.
7-figure fast track. Okay. Course to go with it. That is, y'all, we just gave you $1,500 worth of bonuses. Okay. Like, you can't, that's just so freaking worth it. And you're not having to pay for any of that, any of those bonuses. It's just going to help you move further, faster towards your 7 figures. So, and we know that what Noah does works, because he wouldn't still be in business if it didn't. So make sure you go check the show notes for those links. Follow Noah. And then also, of course, I did just join, per your offer and invitation in the beginning of the 7-figure machine book, you have a 7-figure life Facebook group. So I hopped in there, guys. So if you want to be able to interact with me and Dr. Noah, we're both in that group. So I'd be happy to build some 7-figure businesses with y'all. Lock arms together with Dr. Noah. Let's do this, guys. So Noah, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being back here. I really appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. And of course, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast, so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.